Have you ever watched the movie Eastern Promises with Viggo Mortensen? That's a good movie. But it's about the Russian mafia, which we're going to get some Russian mafia stories today with our other host, Max.
Ladies and gentlemen of all ages, boys and girls, thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Angry Meat Production. We appreciate you coming in and letting us be a part of your lives week in and week out. We hope to do our best to present you with something that your eardrums delight in. Whether you're looking at us on YouTube or Rumble, or listening to us on Spotify, Google, or Anchor, or any of the other podcast services that we are currently on or trying to get on. We thank you. And if you don't mind, at the end of every episode, stop by, leave us a comment, leave us a like. If it asks for 5 stars, we'll take 5 stars, even if you don't like us. 5 stars are what it's all about. With that being said, we hope you enjoy our attempt to make our advocation our vocation. Ladies and gentlemen, let the games begin. We here at Angry Me Production want to thank our sponsor, Mobile Notary Mindy. She's certified with the National Notary Association. She's also bonded and E&O insured. She offers a wide range of services including wills, powers of attorney, medical documents, healthcare proxies, living wills, certification of trust, assignment of personal property, HIPAA waivers, advanced healthcare directives, and 99 verification. You can find her on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram at Mobile Notary Mindy. You can also visit her webpage at TexasMobileNotaryMindy.com. That's TX, MobileNotaryMindy.com. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Yes, today we got Max with us. Let me exit all the solo stuff and there we go. Clicking on these buttons it's getting tedious and I don't know which layout to use.
A lot of layouts, a lot of buttons.
Yeah. Anyways, so today we're basically having you talk about the Russian mafia, and I'm still surprised that there's like a mafia type in Kansas City. I mean, I just got done watching like the last episode of Tulsa King, and they're talking about Kansas City having like Italian mafia in there, and you kept on saying that there was Russian style mafia there too. So how's that possible to be in the middle of the United States and having like stuff like that?
Well, I mean, it's nothing that's going to be foreign to any big city or any medium-sized city for that. And Russian, Italian, it's all, whether you call them mafia, gang, it's all the same thing unless you get into the cartel, which is a different type of organization altogether. But there's always been, how would you
Organized
say,
crime.
string organized crime, yeah. But you know, before that, before it was organized crime, it was more protection, strength in numbers, and having one another's backs, and everything kind of just evolved from there.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't understand, the evolution of organized crime, where it began. It literally began as just a I don't want to say protection racket, protection insurance at starting up, because it started like everything else is we needed. I mean, even going into like a small village, you have the guy that is big and bad and hunts and everything, takes care of everybody. because they're the most healthiest, and then it just evolves from there. I know the Italian mob got more involved, like in World War II, to help out the United States against Germany and Italy.
Absolutely. Yeah, they control the docks.
Yeah.
You want to make sure the docks are safe. It was one organization, one individual. Charlie, Lucky Luciano, was the guy you wanted to talk to back then. And one of the biggest differences between the Italian and the Russian slash Soviets is the duration of time that they've been here as opposed to the Russians. The Russians mainly started immigrating from the former Soviet Union and then the collapse of the Soviet Union. So your 70s, 80s, early 90s Russians are the ones that are more prone to your criminalistic type behavior. And then as far as, it's not like it used to be between families and like the five, families in New York. It's not like that. People gunning each other down in the streets, not like Chicago on any day that ends in a Wednesday or
Well, you're
why.
talking about like the biggest one that we did a story on was the Valentine's Day massacre, and I still haven't done Al Capone fully. I just did that one segment, but and I've gone over like mafia wars on certain stuff, like criminal organizations like the Murder Inc. I went over them, the Jewish hitmen, but it's just really weird that there really isn't big time mafia wars that much anymore. You got like people that are doing turf wars, but half the time it's done civically and diplomatically, and not like gunning people down most of the time, unless something like really off the cuff happens.
Yeah, otherwise it's bad for business. It's a bad look, and then you don't want to be in the spotlight of things. You want to be as clandestine and covert as possible. That's the difference between a mob type of structure versus a cartel type of structure, to where they're sending messages by hanging people from bridges, etc. And it's completely different. I'm not saying one's better than the other, because neither one are all that great, but at the same time, the way that they operate and the way they're set up and the purpose behind them in general is, totally different. Totally different.
How is the, because I mentioned it in the intro. How is it close by to that movie Eastern Promises? Because that's the only Russian mafia, like fully Russian mafia type movie that is out there. How close is it? How real is it compared to what it actually happens?
In certain aspects of the movie, when it comes to the hierarchy, that's fairly accurate. The tattoos, the symbolism, the meanings, accurate. The amount of control, definitely accurate. And you're talking about Europe. So the way that things go over there versus the way that things go over here, just logistically from one place being a lot closer to the motherland versus the other place here being considerably further, makes it, like I said, it's one's a logistical nightmare. The other one is a lot easier to work out of and have control over, especially when you have things like energy that you can hold against people, etc. Whereas over here, you might not have
Like
the same type of assets.
how is something like energy? Because I know there was like uh oil theft in the Middle East, where they put oil in trash bags and they would sell the oil that way. Now you're talking about energy. How would you hold off energy on a group in like the Eastern European style?
Between being able to limit the amount that you get to making it unaffordable That's one way, is the financial aspect of having it can pay up for it or you don't at all, and just being able to leverage that to your advantage. And when you talk about Europe, you're talking about a bigger scale to where Russia supplies so much of what's needed, and it's a whole lot cheaper than having, and logistically also, since Russia's right there and has the means to do so, it's a lot. It would make a lot more sense for them to get their energy from one source that's local as opposed to getting natural gas or another resource from the United States. But
So
politics plays a big part in a lot of all.
so is it the Russian mafia doing it, or is the actual Russian government doing that, or is it a combination of both?
Is there a difference?
Yeah, you got a point there.
Yeah,
But
like I said, you're talking, there's over there's not that much of a difference, to be honest, compared to what it is over here. Over here, back in the 60s, in the 50s, there was a lot more. In the 40s, there was a lot more influence, and it was a lot more prevalent, a lot more known, if you will, a lot more influence. And I'm not saying that it's gone down, but it's not spoken to and spoken of anywhere near like what it used to be. So it's hard to say what in this modern age there are as far as relations between the government here in the States and any kind of mob ties, though I'm sure that there's got to be something. I wouldn't be surprised.
now what? And I heard I was doing a little bit. I've been like researching like criminal organizations because of the sociopaths period. But what is the relationship between the police department and most criminal organizations? Is it more or less a symbiotic relationship, or is it going to be more or less? Because a lot of people think uh, cops are bad for organized crime, but a lot of the actual criminals go out and they say, "Hey, you're doing your job. I can't really get mad at you. You got me. You're better than me." But when I was working corrections, it was a totally different story. They're always just like, man, they used XYZ to uh they planted stuff on me. I wasn't, but there's some criminals out there that was in when I was working corrections, they literally said it's like, no, they got me. I can't really say anything about it. They didn't. All the evidence was there. Uh, I got caught. So what is most of the views in most of the organized crime that you had to deal with?
When it comes to being incarcerated, COs, they're just as complicit as anybody else. How, if it wasn't for COs, we wouldn't be getting certain privileges and things brought in. So, or certain things by individuals being brought in and somebody turning a blind eye to it. So it's something that definitely happens, whether it's through the CO or through somebody else that the CO isn't paying attention to or is paid not to pay attention to.
Yeah.
Things are getting through one way or the other. It's, like I said, it's one of those things you're never going to stop it. You're not going to, there's nothing you can do about it. There's much outside illegal substance abuse as there is on the inside. It's just over there and the inside, it's got a lot more value than it does out here. Out here, you can go to a dispensary if you're in the state where it's legal and get you whatever product you want. You can do the same thing in the joint. It's just going to cost you a little bit more, and you got to have a solid connector, good plug.
Okay, but what about
the CEOs letting it go on all the time?
Yeah, I've heard of some CEOs doing that. Not me. I never. didn't appeal to me. I like my freedom way too much. But what about the cops and organized crime? What kind of relationships do you foresee yourself having when you were doing criminal activities? Allegedly.
I mean, me personally, I knew some people that were in law enforcement. I know people that are in law enforcement now. And, back then, you're talking 20, 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Yeah, roughly a little bit more, 20 years ago. The individuals I knew that were in law enforcement were older than I am. And they were useful for information and staying out of trouble, but not like trying to give them information and getting somebody else clipped, pinched, nothing like that. It was more or less just, hey, watch out for this, watch out for that, and playing the game with them on what not to do. Because they don't want messes. They don't want any more headache they're going to be able to cause without having to take care of business. You don't want to go that extra step and that extra mile in certain cases.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a symbiotic relationship where things just get out of hand and it's not good for business. And if something's not good for business, then that's a problem.
So did you know when
the things that
No, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
I had I don't remember. No, you're fine. I don't remember exactly what case it was, but I had community service as one of the stipulations for the condition of my punishment. And I was doing community service at the police station.
Really?
Which, yeah, they had me. It was funny because they had me shredding documents and everything else. So they just leave me alone in the room, had me shred documents. I'm looking through these documents.
What kind of documents were you shredding?
I'm shredding them. There was all kinds of stuff that I just old stuff. It was. Let me see. This would have been in the late 90s. Yeah, late 90s. And I want to say they were going over from paper documents to electronic records on some parts. So a lot of the stuff that I was taking care of as far as shredding were arrest records.
Okay.
That have been digitized. So a lot of the stuff I saw was
that
just
still has
arrest records.
Though.
Do what?
That had public information on it though.
Yeah, but I was doing community service. They weren't expecting me to sit here and, you know what I mean, do anything with it. And I wasn't interested in it either. I hated doing the community service where I was doing it because this is being high and then being in a police station sucked. I don't know how else to say it. And I got all paranoid while I was doing it because I didn't want to be like, hey, this motherfucker's high. And then I get in trouble for that. Because luckily, and they still had a color system to where that was one advantage that I did have. I knew what colors were coming up when, so I'd be able to still do my thing.
Okay.
And I never had to worry about that. I never had to worry about that. I never had to stop smoking for any amount of time. Unless I wanted to, but I never had a reason to want to. But yeah, I'd get paranoid in there. I fucking couldn't wait till that shit was over.
Now you sent me some news articles on some of the stuff that you were involved in at the time, and this is public knowledge now. You can look through it through the Kansas City newspaper they have there from back in the day. What was the crime that you were accused of at that time?
That one I was actually, I want to say I had 7 or 8 different charges stemming from criminal threat to larceny to drug charges, weapons charges. Yeah, there was a few different charges that I had, and it, there's still an arrest record that you can never get rid of, no matter what you do. You can get things expunged, etc., but you'll never get rid of an arrest record. But the things that I was accused of doing allegedly, I was able to get out of without having to rat anybody out. It's not anything that you're ever taught. You don't rat out your friends. You don't rat out anybody. But I did a little bit of time and had a good attorney, a lot better attorney than some of the other individuals in that article had. And I got fortunate out of everybody that got in trouble for doing it. And it was the FBI, the ATF, the DEA, sheriffs, and then your local police, all of them converging all at once on two separate occasions, when they raided the house the first time, and then when they came and they arrested me and another individual a couple days, 2-3 days later. So for me, I should have known better. I should have trusted my gut and told this other guy that I was with, we don't need anything. We shouldn't do what we're doing. We just need to continue to lay low, let it blow over. We won't see any jail time at all.
Yeah.
But I was, I made a mistake and I listened to somebody, and then it ended up costing me money. But it probably wouldn't have cost me anything at all. I would have got a lawyer and gotten off of it without having to get arrested and do anything time-wise for it. But in the end of the day, it all worked out the same. So,
yeah,
3 hots and a cot.
So that was another thing that, because I watch Matthew Cox stuff, because he was federally charged for like 20 for white collar crime, mortgage fraud. But he was talking about most of the stuff in federal, because he didn't rat on his other cohorts, which even back nowadays he's like, yeah, I should have. They ratted on me as fast as possible. I should have ratted on them. I should have given them all up. But he was saying that when he was in the federal pen, that everybody is like, oh, I don't rat, blah blah blah. And he's like, you do realize you're in federal penitentiary? Everybody's ratted in here. Did you do that to get out on most of the charges, or you just had a really good lawyer?
I had a really good lawyer, and I was smart about the way I did things, and I didn't spend any more time than I had to where everything happened. I had another residence that I spent more time at, so you couldn't. It was like a game of chess. You always had to make sure that you planned your moves strategically. That way, in case something ever did happen, you were prepared, and the punishment would be minimal, if any at all. But sometimes not everybody thinks that way, and they get a big head and they think they're a big shot all of a sudden, and they want to act like a big shot. And that's usually when people start fucking up and things start going bad. And that's kind of what happened in this situation. That's why I didn't get in as much trouble as other individuals did that are still paying for it now permanently. So, and there's different levels to it too. I had a deal with these 3-letter agencies, and they're trying to get things out of me, and I'm in here for one thing, and they're trying to get something out of me that's above my pay grade at that point in time. And I'm not over here trying to give information about something that I don't want anything to do with, because they're going to know where that information came from. And I'll be in a whole lot more trouble talking about that than I will be by not talking about it with law enforcement, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. Now, on a day to day of doing a criminal activity, allegedly, I have to say allegedly, a lot of people think that doing criminal activities is a lot. It's not considered work, but you do have to put in a lot of work and the stuff that you do. What kind of stuff did you do when you were planning out whatever activities allegedly you were doing?
Let's say that allegedly we had people set up in retail stores, clothing stores, that would be employees of the clothing stores. We would coordinate other individuals to go in there and basically rob the stores, but do it in a way that made it look like they were just casual shoppers like anybody else. Looked like they were checking out like anybody else. Nobody was any the wiser to it. So things like that. And then you get into some of your more intricate kind of rackets to where you're over here. There was a thing there for a while to where there was this insurance thing going on. I could talk about it now. It's not that big a deal. But they were selling insurance plans to less fortunate individuals. And then, less fortunate individuals apparently have bad luck too. So they'd collect on monies from policies that they'd sell to individuals that were less fortunate that nobody would miss in the first place.
No,
So,
they passed away in natural causes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just convenient timing. It just, yeah,
Because I found out,
natural causes.
yeah,
Natural causes.
I found out like, go ahead, because I found out like in New York, New Jersey, I think it is, because I was talking to when I was working at Uverse, is you could sign a policy on someone that doesn't really have they don't have to sign the paperwork or anything. You just have an insurance policy on them, and they like trying to find the right word so we don't get canceled. I don't think I can even use that.
There's nothing illegal about writing or having an insurance policy on somebody, and there's nothing illegal about having multiple insurance policies.
Yeah, that's not the illegal part. The illegal part is if they fall down a flight of stairs and they get stabbed like 15 times too. That's kind of questions.
Yeah, sometimes there's things that are questionable that come about. I get that. I understand that. And it's a good thing that there's a policy for it.
Yeah. But if you
it's always better to have something and not need it than to need something and not have it.
Yeah. They were, well, what they were doing is, from what the guy said, is the criminal organization were putting insurance policies on people that are clinically depressed, and they were coaxing them to take matters into their own hands, so to speak, and they would collect on the insurance for that. And they would literally take matters into their own hands on that situation, and the mafia would actually collect on money. I mean, it kind of,
yeah, you didn't want to get a policy on, like, an Olympic athlete or anything like that. Somebody's going to be around for a long time. You try to get the policy out on somebody that's on their last leg over here with the black lung, like they've been working in a fucking coal mine their whole lives. Or you get somebody homeless. I mean, like I said, it doesn't take much, but there's some ruthless people out there that are heartless and they don't give a fuck.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not one of those people.
Yeah. That's why we actually keep you on the show, Max.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoy talking about sports and sports cards. That's it.
Yeah, it's what got you to get away from that kind of life though?
Family, wife, children, not maybe a little bit of my mom, she passed away suddenly, all of a sudden, out of nowhere. So I mean, it was I found the Lord.
So it was a religion. There's actually a lot of people that were in organized crime that found religion and just they totally turned their lives around.
Yeah, I'm actually, believe it or not, very religious, and a lot of people don't know that or believe that, but it's true. I very much believe in Jesus Christ being my Lord and Savior, even though I'm Jewish. It's not like I'm not gonna stop being Jewish. That's got nothing to do with it. Jesus never stopped being Jewish. So
yeah,
I got a picture of him everywhere, right over here, hiring everybody else, hiring all the rest. But I think, I mean, for the most part, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody, for the most part, deserves second chances unless you're a pedophile. Then no. And, you go into, if you're a certain individual, you get, if you're a pedophile or a chomo, however, not to get canceled on here, and you go and you find yourself imprisoned, you're getting in the SHU, not SHOE, but SHU, the Special Housing Unit. You're not going to be in Gen Pop because you're not going to survive. You got a bounty on your head, automatic. All that stuff that they say about that, that's all 100% true. So there's certain types of those aren't criminals. Those are just sick people that we don't need to have around. But no chomo. Woman beaters, people that pick on the elderly. That's another difference between mafias and the cartels. Whereas your cartels will string up whoever, just like terrorist organizations do with children, use them as human shields, as bombs, whatever. Cartels do the same thing. Mafias, they'll still keep it classy, if you want to call it that, and not involve the women or the children unless they're involved. But for the most part, keep them out of it.
Yeah, there was a story that a friend of mine that he was a MP in the Navy, and he was talking about how they I'm the reason why I'm like kind of stumbling on the words on this one is because I have to we're trying to keep the show a little bit more PC so we can get a bigger audience nowadays. But what they did was I'll just say they used dolls to transfer the drugs that they were smuggling, and this is Afghanistan's that were doing this. They were transferring the heroin, and they were using dolls, the realistic dolls, and they would just sew them, get rid of all the stuff on the inside, and sew them back up and send them out. But Yeah, and he still has to live with that. It's really weird how some organized crime views humanity compared to like a legitimate. It's hard to say a legitimate criminal activities where they're actually more. How would you say it? They're more humane in the criminal activities they do, even though they do a lot of violence at the same time.
This is true. Yeah, what they do as far as the cartels, they're just trying to keep prices low for all the drug addicts over here in the United States that can't get enough of the product they're pushing out. So, yeah, there's nothing that's bad for business when you've got a bunch of addicts that don't care. They want to pay as little as possible for it.
Yeah. So I guess that we can cut it off of there, unless you want to talk about more about the podcast. Since we started doing this together, we ended up pretty much going in and took a chance on him, and he was grateful, and he's been helping out as he's been doing like really good work with us doing the podcast. All the clips he does, he's the extra producer other than me. I do the I do the long editing. He does the shortcuts of the long editing, which it was needed to be done. But he's our extra person that you more or less do the same amount of stuff that I do. And you actually do a little bit more because you're on every day now with nerd
I
sports stuff.
have fun with it. I need to be thanking you guys. Like I said, you give me purpose and a new mission. So I'm grateful. I enjoy it. I love doing it. But if I didn't have this to do, then I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd probably be playing Diablo like you were.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because I told you that I was like, "Hey, dude, you want to get on real quick and do the Psychos and Sociopaths real quick and get it done?" And out because we've been planning to do the Russian one for what 2 months now.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, it was really difficult and everything. It's so sad that. And I'm literally wanting to do this. I took the 6th off of November, so we can do a Super Tuesday episode.
The
So what do you
5th of
think about
November?
that? Huh?
I like
Yeah,
it.
it's the 5th of November.
You talk about
Yeah,
you
we'll
say
go.
5th?
Yeah, November 5th.
Yeah.
We'll do
Oh yeah. I think
we'll do a Super Tuesday episode. We'll go live and hopefully and when we do this, I don't care what your political views are. I mean, honestly, don't care. A friend of mine that he's been with me for close to 10 years now. But he literally said he's like I'm gonna go vote for Kamala Harris because I like her policies. I go, okay. He's like, "You're not mad?" I was like, "Dude, I'm not mad. I love you. You're my brother. You always been there with me and everything like that. If political views is what breaks us apart, then we shouldn't have been friends in the begin with. Like if Max had like a different view and everything, as long as it's one of those things that it's not gonna if it's not gonna hurt the world or you, you know, vote who you want to go to. If you win, you win. You win. You don't. But I'm not gonna go out and attack people for
if that's what you truly believe, then I agree with you.
But what we're gonna do, we're just gonna go in and find out who the president is. We'll start it at 7:00. We'll get some of the stuff done on that and see how that goes. And we're just gonna have a little bit of fun with it. instead of like attack on like how a lot of people are doing. Most definitely, we want people to vote. And it doesn't really matter who you vote for. It's just go out and vote. You know, you are the voice of change. But other than that, I think that's a good way to press stop on this fun thing. Thank you, Max, for coming on and hanging out with me on the Psychos and Sociopaths, since I do these by myself most of the time. And it's good to have an extra person to talk to when I'm on this and get a another person's view on what we look at in the world. And thank you all that listen and subscribe to us and like our stuff. Thank you. Seriously. We love having fun with this, and we hope that we could make our hobby a fun thing to do. Like Max says, Max is one of the people that he has fun with this. He loves talking sports. He enjoys our company on the while, and hopefully we get together and hang out. If it's one of those things that we actually make a profit on these things, we can, you know, I don't know if I'm going to go see a Kansas City game. Maybe a Houston game. I don't count. I'm still judgmental on that.
You're
But
just mad when you guys had Deshaun Watson. You came over here to Arrowhead. You thought you guys are going to win something. You had a lead, but then you forgot that you were in Kansas City and you were playing Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. So we had to come back and we had to win that. So, but it's okay. We've had 2 Super Bowl wins since then.
all right, everybody. Love you guys. Thank you. Goodbye.